Greetings and welcome back. It's your host, Gabe Morales. I know it's been a while, but I thought I'd give you a little update on the Aryan Brotherhood of California. Mid-December 2024, former Aryan Brotherhood member Michael Lynn Thompson, CDC number B68040, was found guilty in Lake Superior Court of perjury and fraud for lying on government loan applications and illegally collecting unemployment benefits. He represented himself at a bench trial before Judge David Markham. Thompson was initially sent to prison in the 1970s for the murder of two men in Orange County, California. He states that he joined the Brotherhood in 1977 and claims to be the highest ranking member of the gang to have ever left, which I don't believe is totally accurate. He has consistently denied any responsibility for the Orange County slayings and has cooperated with authorities in multiple cases after he dropped out, including one case whereby he was secretly carried into the courthouse inside of a hollowed out vending machine. Thompson has been featured in multiple documentaries and YouTube podcasts in recent years and had served approximately 45 years in multiple California prisons, finally paroled by Governor Gavin Newsom in the year 2019. Thompson blamed the false statements and unemployment theft on his co-defendant, Eric Hutchins, who pled guilty in September of 2024 and began serving an 8-year sentence at North Kern State Prison. Meanwhile, Thompson also said that the handwritten notes and signatures on the documents and notes pertaining to the fraudulent application were not his, even though he later admitted that there was some similarity to his own handwriting. Closing arguments, Lake County Deputy District Attorney Sterling Thayer told the court that Thompson's claim he was totally innocent and had been a victim of Hutchins' scheme and was not a co-conspirator defied credibility. He said that when the two were arrested in 2021, shortly after Thompson's release, prosecutors said they had stolen nearly $400,000 in unemployment benefits. But after two of the fraud counts were dismissed by Judge Markham, the total was said to be closer to over $100,000. Some people believe that Thompson had changed his ways, and he was known for speaking very softly, almost Zen-like. He claimed to have changed while in prison and after his parole, restarted his life as a prominent life coach and drug counselor. He called himself a square and presented himself as a symbol of redemption. But, as I have been very frank in previous episodes, I always felt he remained a con man. And while there is little doubt that the large and violent man who once belonged to the AB known as Judo Mike participated in many killings, including that of the 187 of Stephen Loser Clark on July 3, 1982, at CIM's Palm Hall with Clifford Smith, many people felt he exaggerated testimony against others for his own gain and would often embellish stories about his personal exploits. At the courthouse where he was convicted, he told the Sacramento Bee while he would prefer not to return to prison, he was not afraid of it. If that's what it is, you have to go with it, he said. Most likely, Thompson will be classified to a protective custody yard, but will still have to look over his back. Meanwhile, the joint podcast he had with Ramon Mundo Mendoza was short-lived, and Mundo once again has bounced back to working for Police and Fire Publishing. In another recent development, AB shot callers Kenneth Kenwood Johnson, Francis Frank Clement, and John Youngster Stinson are currently in trial for a case whereby they are accused of ordering multiple murders. All three pled not guilty and even denied membership in the prison gang, which is typical in such cases. Prosecutors said they traced 7 homicides, 2 behind bars and 5 on the streets of Los Angeles County, back to them. Prosecutors said all the murders were plotted from behind prison walls. Victims died in and out of prison, being stabbed in the joint and gunned down in the streets of Pomona, Lomita, and Lancaster, near where the LA County Prison is located. The victims had a variety of backgrounds. One was a pimp, another was an extortionist with ties to Israeli organized crime, 2 were members of a white supremacist gang, one was an imprisoned robber who was killed by his cellmate, and another was found dead in a stolen truck. One thing they had in common, authorities say, is that they had all run afoul of the AB. Kenneth Kenwood Johnson, CDC number C as in Charles 93732, was born in Covina in Southern California, but raised in San Jose in Northern California. He served 14 months on the Boys Ranch as a youngster for burglary, escaping twice. As an adult, he is imprisoned for robbery, assault, possession of a firearm as a felon, and was released in 1994. Johnson had been out of custody for just 4 months when a Madera County deputy responded to a report of a suspicious man armed with a knife. According to authorities, Johnson fired 4 shots at the deputy, who wasn't hit. The deputy returned fire, striking Johnson in the arm. Sentenced to a life term, Johnson was sentenced to Pelican Bay, where many of the state's top prison gang leaders were held, and he was validated as being AB in early 1999. Francis Frank Clement, CDC number D as in Delta 7919, has been locked up since committing a murder on his 18th birthday. A native of Springfield, Oregon, Clement was headed to Las Vegas, Nevada to celebrate his birthday when he checked into a Sacramento motel with a friend, along with 2 teenage girls. After spending the evening drinking Jack Daniels and swimming in the motel's pool, Clement returned to their room and found his friend raping one of the girls. It was at that time, he said, he took out a pocket knife and cut his friend's throat. Convicted of second-degree murder, Clement was sent to a state prison in Vacaville, where he and 2 other inmates pinned down a suspected informant to his bed before Clement cut out part of his tongue. Prison authorities state that Clement joined the Aryan Brotherhood in 1995, which he denied. Both he and Kenwood are accused of ordering the murder of Brandon Lowry, who was 6 years into his 10-year sentence for robbery and selling drugs when he was killed by his cellmate at Kern Valley State Prison. Authorities state that the plot to kill Lowry was drawn up by Johnson, Clement, and a third Aryan Brotherhood member, David Chance, and that the victim appeared on a hit list. White inmates with drug debts at Kern Valley State Prison. Lowry owed nearly $1,000 in debt and was red flagged, meaning that no inmates could sell drugs to him until he settled his debts with the AB. But evidently, Lowry flouted the order, buying more drugs instead of paying off what he already owed to the brother. Understand that longtime AB member and commission member David Chance was not charged in that case. John Youngster Stinson, or better said, old man now, CDC number C as in Charles 40154, was known as being fairly low-key and was a notorious drug runner at the LA County Jail for many years. He was believed to have stepped down from the AB's 3-man ruling California Commission after a federal jury in Los Angeles convicted him of murder and racketeering in 2007 on a RICO case. Stinson had already been serving a life sentence for the murder of a drug dealer in 1979 that he committed with Mexican mafia member Daniel Cuartegrajeda. Stinson was also said to have been involved in the murder plot of rival AB General Jack Red Mahoney on behalf of one-time AB General Wendell Blue Norris. And on November 22nd, 2024, longtime AB member Ronald Renegade Yandell, CDC number V as in Victor 27927, was accused of attacking 2 prison guards at California State Prison, Sacramento, also known as New Folsom. Yandell had been convicted in April 2024 on a different RICO case of orchestrating multiple murders and other crimes on behalf of the AB. He was accused of wielding the improvised weapon, or shank. Early in the morning of November 22nd, 2 prison guards escorted him to a cell. Prison guard then deployed 3 applications of pepper spray, and Yandell dropped the weapon, according to reports. He was restrained and examined by medical staff. I first recall Renegade's name being brought up by guards at Folsom Prison in the late 1980s as being an eager AB associate. At that time, multiple AB members and associates were housed at B1 Block, New Folsom, when I started working there in early 1987. Also understand that he was involved in an earlier hit for the AB at DBI in order to impress the AB. He was later sent to the federal BOP, where I understand he was made a member by federal AB Commissioner Barry Mills and was often referred to as being Barry's kid. His reputation and notoriety grew even further while in federal prison. He was ultimately released but returned to CDC custody in March of 2004 after he was convicted of Contra Costa County of first-degree murder and voluntary manslaughter, and eventually became a member of the ruling 3-man California Commission. He was prosecuted on a RICO case in 2019 along with other AB, and was found guilty on 15 charges, such as racketeering, conspiracy to commit murder, distribution of methamphetamine and heroin, and murder in aid of racketeering. Regarding the 2015 slaying of notorious BGF inmate Hugo Pinell, Yandell was sentenced to life in December 2024, but was defiant as he's ever been. He called the case against him an act of political retaliation and states that the entire case was a result of his decision to help lead the prisoner hunger strike in the early 2010s, aimed at shutting down California's use of solitary confinement at security housing units at various prisons around the state. Hunger strike eventually succeeded in state prisons scaling back the use of solitary confinement under a court order and settlement. Yandell predicted the courts have not seen the last of him yet. I'm still standing, and my life hasn't changed. He said, I ain't easy to kill, and I'll be back before this court on appeal. As you know, I don't like speculating on such cases until they are adjudicated. Some people believe he did the stabbing of the officers in order to delay going to the feds, as he talked very badly about some of his co-defendants. And some state that he might be in trouble when he hits the BOP. Others state that guards had beat him for this last incident and that he was just retaliating to let them know not to mess with him. Regardless of the reason, I'm sure he is correct. Prison officials have not heard the last from him or the Aryan Brotherhood. Hope you enjoyed this episode and stay blessed and are grateful for everything that you have in these often stressful times. For now, it's Gabe Morales signing off. Gangsters, cops, and politicians.